Hello, Lena. Welcome to Mr. Quaker's Teachers. In this lesson, I'll be analyzing Anne Stevenson's poem, The Spirit is Too Blunt an Instrument. I'll speak about the themes, the figures of speech in the poem, the point of view, the poet's tone, the mood, that's how the reader feels or how I felt about it, the structure, poetic devices, the rhyme, and other stylistic devices that Stevenson uses to strikingly present the wonder of a newborn baby in the poem. The structure is really key as well, because you're going to see the use of a Spencerian stanza, and also the fact that the poem also has three stanzas as well. For me, it's indicative of the 3 trimesters of a pregnancy. That's for the humans. That's what I mean. So the gestation period of humans. But we're going to dive into that and then see it. Let's dive in. Let's begin by speaking about the poet Anne Stevenson. She was born January 3rd, 1933. She was an American-British poet and writer and the recipient of the Lannan Literary Award. She studied music and languages at the University of Michigan. And when she began to lose her hearing, she decided to be a writer. She obtained a bachelor's degree in 1954, graduating with honors. She returned to the UK where she lived the rest of her life. Unfortunately, Stevenson died on September 14th, 2020. So that is about the poet, but it's a fantastic, fantastic poem. Now, the poem has 3 stanzas like I mentioned, but because of the length, it couldn't appear on one screen. So that's how the poem appears. In fact, in your anthology, it's spread over 2 pages. So this is how the poem, remember that it has 3 stanzas, sorry. It's very important that I remember that. Now, let me begin by reading the poem and then I'll read a past question and a question that I formulated actually from the IGCSE that has like an IGCSE style question, and then that question is part of the course. So please look at the question and also try your hands on it, and I'll see if it's possible for me to include an A-star quality question in the course as well, and then we'll see how that goes. All right. So let me begin by reading the poem. The Spirit is Too Blunt an Instrument by Anne Stevenson. The spirit is too blunt an instrument to have made this baby. Nothing so unskillful as human passions could have managed the intricate, exacting particulars, the tiny blind bones with their manipulating tendons, the knee and the knuckle bones, the resilient fine meshings of ganglia and vertebrae, the chain of the difficult spine. Observe the distinct eyelashes and sharp crescent fingernails, the shell-like complexity of the ear, with its firm involution concentric in miniature to minute ossicles. Imagine the infinitesimal capillaries, the flawless connections of the lungs, the invisible neural filaments, through which the completed body already answers to the brain. Then, name any passion or sentiment, possessed of the simplest accuracy. No desire or affection could have done with practice what habit has done perfectly, indifferently, through the body's ignorant precision. It is left to the vagaries of the mind to invent love and despair and anxiety and their pain. That's the poem. It's a very, very nice poem too. It rolls off the tongue. So one of the things I observed about the poem is that it doesn't have a rhyme scheme. It's a 3-verse poem. But there's this way that the words sort of rhyme into each other and blend. And I think it is testament of the fact that the child was made or came about by some sort of perfect rhythmic, sound. So there's no rhyme scheme. It's a 3-verse poem, but there are words that sort of blend into each other and then just rolls off the tongue. Now, let me dive into the analysis. So Stevenson opens the poem with what comes across as an extremely opinionated and argumentative tone, by proclaiming or arguing from the very first sentence that she spreads across 2 lines, the spirit is too blunt an instrument to have made this baby. So for me, she comes out as someone that is arguing about a point that somebody has made before. We don't know, we are not told, but for me, that's the sense that I get. The lines which sees the use of enjambment, so line 1 is blended into line 2 with enjambment, evidenced by the pauseless flow of words from line 1 to 2, shows that the poet deliberately refused to pause or stop until she's made a point. That's why I talked about how the argumentative tone with which the poem opens. The opening is also very striking because she makes a point with a vehement tone. So you can say, for example, that the tone is argumentative, it's like a proclamation. It's also vehement as well. Now, her use of the vehement tone suggests that she's probably rebutting someone else's claim, presumably a claim that attributes the making of this baby. So she's speaking here about a particular baby, of this baby, to the spirit. So whoever it was that was speaking with her attributed the making of a baby to a spirit, and she's refuting that claim. The word spirit introduces the metaphysical and unseen realm. The spirit can also be an allusion to a divine being or power. Furthermore, her use of the in reference to the spirit tells that she is speaking about a specific spirit. So she does not say a spirit is too blunt. She says the spirit. It means she's speaking here about a specific spirit. She goes on to argue about how improbable it is that the spirit made this baby by qualifying or emphasizing how blunt it is with the adverb to. So we see that she's saying, see, it's blunt, but then it's too blunt. Emphasis on the word too, kind of. So it's not just the fact that it's blunt, but then it is too blunt. Now, her use of too suggests that it is exceedingly inefficient and incapable of making this baby. Too blunt not only attributes a lack of sharpness and precision to the spirit, it also creates the impression that this baby was made by cutting. So the baby came about by cutting. She doesn't tell us what needs to be cut, but then the use of blunt there, I mean the literal sense of the word blunt. I'm going to talk about the figurative meaning of blunt, but the literal meaning of the word blunt there creates the impression that it couldn't have cut it because it's not sharp enough. Now, but figuratively, too blunt communicates that the spirit that she's referring to is straightforward. It is undiplomatic and lacks the needed emotional sensitivity and temperament to manufacture a baby. So now I'm not using the word blunt literally. I'm talking about the figurative sense of the word, the deeper meaning of the word. So it could be that Stevenson is arguing that the spirit is not literally cutting the baby, but then it's undiplomatic. And it lacks the emotional sensitivity to be able to, manufacture a baby, because you need emotional sensitivity and diplomacy and temperament to be able to, create a baby. Too blunt also paints the spirit as rude. So it's also possible that she's saying that, well, the spirit is rude. It speaks rudely, it's unruly, and it is British. So because of that, even though it's an instrument, it's too blunt. Furthermore, the poet's use of the instrument, you see that word there, the word instrument, it's a metaphor. To characterize the spirit shows that she considers it a tool or device. So the spirit is actually a tool, it's a device. Now, it can be used to make precision work, but it is not precise enough to create this baby because it's too blunt. So if it was something else or some other kind of way, or some other product, maybe it's possible that even though it's blunt or too blunt, it would have done that, but not this baby. Additionally, from Stevenson's words, the reader realizes that she does not disbelieve that spirits exist. Now, for me here, I think that, I don't know, it's not very clear if Stevenson is making an allusion to God, or the fact that God is not the creator of the baby. I'm not sure. Or she's just talking about a spirit. Again, that's not sure. That's not clear. Maybe I would have been a bit inclined to understand what she meant by spirit if the S in spirit was a capital S. Then I'll know that's a proper noun. So I'm not certain about what she means here by spirit. So it shows that when she says spirit, she does not disbelieve that spirit exists. She only refuses to attribute the making of this baby to the spirit because she thinks that it is too blunt an instrument. Now, the expression in the second line, to have made, shows that making a baby takes deliberate action. It takes deliberate action. And it's a process. The making of a baby is a process. Furthermore, made expresses that the baby was manufactured, engineered, formed, assembled, produced, any of those adjectives. I.e., the baby came about by a production mechanism. I'm more inclined to the first explanation than the second explanation. So I'm more inclined to the fact that Stevenson wants the reader to understand that, see, making a baby is a deliberate action. I don't think she wants us to think that the baby is made in like some sort of like a laboratory or factory or something like that, or it's assembled in an assembly line. No. Even though some people may think that that's like the idea that Stevenson is trying to put across, for me, I think she wants us to know that, see, the making of a baby takes deliberate action. That's why she uses the word made. Finally, her use of this, we see this in reference to the baby, shows that she's pointing to a specific baby. She's not saying the straight is too blunt and instrument to have made babies or any baby. She's saying this baby, So, I mean, she sort of reduces the argument to a particular baby, and presumably one that is recently born. So I said I was going to read a past question. And then the past question is, how does discuss, this is actually from the early 2000s. So you're going to see that's a bit different from those questions, but I'll give you the modern rendition of how I think if Cambridge was asking the question today, how to ask it. But this is the question. Discuss the following poem, commenting in particular on the ways in which the poet expresses a sense of wonder at the newborn baby. I mean, that's why I gave the caveat that these are the questions in early 2000s. But if they were asking the question today, I mean, with my experience of teaching the IGCSE literature for about, 14 plus odd years, I'll say that they'll ask the question like, how does Stevenson strikingly present the wonder of a baby in this poem? So the wonder of a baby, or that's what I think. Or how does Stevenson strikingly present, or powerfully present, or explore how, those are some of the words. Stevenson strikingly presents, powerfully presents the wonder of a newborn baby in the poem. So something like that. So here she's speaking about this baby, not a general baby. Now, one of the things I want you to pay particular attention to is how she uses microbiological terms. We're going to see that in a bit. Hello, learner. I hope you've enjoyed the lesson so far. This is a sample video analysis of this poem. To access the full analysis, purchase it or the entire course with detailed analysis of all the 15 poems, the elements of literature in each poem, and IGCSE style questions, both passage-based and general. There are also A-star quality sample essays as well at mrquakersteaches.com. Find the links in the description. See you in class.